Welcome back to the Movie Draft House. I'm your host, Mark. It's another 5-minute review, and in today's review, we're going to be talking about the recently released on streaming um, feature Bones and All. It is a romantic horror film. It's quite a blend of genres there. It released in theaters back at the end of 2022 and got some brief awards buzz. Ultimately, was not nominated for any major awards. But it's directed by Luca Guadagnino, and he also directed the horror film Suspiria and Timothee Chalamet's kind of coming out film Call Me by Your Name. And this film also stars Timothee Chalamet, Taylor Russell, and Mark Rylance as your three main characters here. And this is a very weird movie. It's a very kind of just subverts your expectation movie. It is a romance film through and through, but it is also very much horror film. And it's a film about two young individuals who also happen to be cannibals. And they go on a road trip, and they're trying to figure out their life and how they can live their life. And the film's main character is Taylor Russell, and we're introduced to her in the first scene, and she's kind of a fish out of water. She lives with her dad in a rundown trailer, and she gets invited at school to go over to a friend's house, and so she sneaks out and goes over, and I guess is overcome with the urge to eat this other young lady, and proceeds to kind of do so, then runs away. And she goes back home, and her dad's like, "Oh no, what did you do?" So then we're led, we're introduced to her father, and then we learn that this is what they do, is that he's responsible for just moving around the country, and trying to help raise her as this person who needs to eat other people, and when something happens, they pick up and they move, and then her dad leaves her, tells her, "Hey, I can't help you anymore. You have to figure this out on your own." And then we're told she's 18, and she goes on this road trip, and she meets Timothee Chalamet's character, who is another young cannibal. Well, at first she meets Mark Rylance, and he's a very weird individual, but he's a cannibal, and he tells her, "Hey, I can smell you, X amount of miles away. I just have this sense about me. I can," because he shows up where she's at, and he's like, "Hey, I know the secrets you have," and then they kind of bond, but then she gets like these creep vibes from him. And so she runs away from him, and then she meets Timothee Chalamet. And she falls in love with Timothee Chalamet, and they have this romance. And, we get backstory for Chalamet's character, Lee, and why he's kind of on the run. And Taylor Russell's character, Marin, can relate. And ultimately, Taylor at first, or Marin's character at first, is trying to find her mother, and then she settles into a life with Chalamet. It is it's an independent movie through and through, but the music and the soundtrack, all the score, it's all great. The cinematography, excellent. The performance, Chalamet in particular, is very good. Mark Rylance is phenomenal here. I love him in pretty much everything he does, but this dude deserved an Academy Award nomination for his performance. He's ultimately the villain here. And I won't spoil anything because I do believe this movie deserves to be viewed. I do wholeheartedly recommend it. It subverts your expectations. It gives you great performances, great everything. It's a little long. It runs 2 hours 11 minutes, And it does have, lulls and some downtime where we're just, characters are just staring at each other. But it's a film that I think you should see. I highly recommend it. It's streaming now on Amazon Prime, so you can view it there. Anyways, hit the subscribe button when it pops up. I appreciate you doing that. Me and Jeff, we're working hard for you. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms: Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, here on YouTube. And you can also follow the podcast on all your favorite streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcast. The podcast release weekly every Thursday, so don't miss out. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
I came looking for you. I smelled you.
You can smell me half a mile away. Can you do that?
Not that far.